Oh yeah, no good. Yeah, I just snapped that extension right off. Alright, let's see if this thing will start. Okay. Guess the battery's much weaker than I thought. Okay, these battery terminals are pretty crusty from sitting, so before I do any serious diag, I'm just going to loosen both of these up and kind of jiggle them back and forth, knock some of those deposits off, see if that makes any difference. Well, GM sure didn't leave any room to work in here to get this negative off, but got it finally. The one I'm really interested in here is this positive. Ooh, yeah, there's a lot of buildup. As far as cleaning, the best I got right now is this rag. Let's see what we can do. Well, now we got no dome light again. Nothing when I hit the key. Okay, after unhooking from the tractor, let's see what the voltage across the battery reads. About 4 volts. Not very good. Okay, I originally had it grounded on this AC line here because it was some good metal real close to the battery, but not close enough to worry about sparking or anything. And I think what happened is the truck was trying to pull all the power through maybe the AC circuit or something that was hooked up to that and blew that fuse, because now I just directly hooked it up to the battery, even though it's not what you're supposed to do. And we got power in the truck again. So I'm going to turn the tractor back on and let it charge for a minute, and we'll try and start it again. Okay, it's been charging again for a few minutes. Let's see what happens. Just not enough juice. Alright, I turned the RPMs up on the tractor a little more to hopefully get a little more power out of the alternator. And I shut off the headlights that turned on automatically that I wasn't even paying attention to. So it's been charging a few more minutes. Let's try one more time. Still nothing. Okay, I got this battery from my Golf here that's been sitting out since it's not currently driving. Let's see how much power it's got. Alright. I'm going to try and swap this in, see if this one will start it. Wow, if you didn't catch that sticker on the way out that says this battery is from July 2015, it is March 2025. So this is 760 cold cranking amps. This one that I'm borrowing from the Golf is 650 cranking amps, cold cranking amps, sorry. So it's a little undersized, but surprisingly not as much as I thought it would be. So for short term, I think it'll do just fine. We might have looked out. I think even the stock battery mounting bracket is going to line up. I'm going to hook some wires back up to this thing, and we'll see if we can't get it to start the truck. Wow, that was actually pretty easy. Cool. Everything's still looking good back here, no leaks. I think it's time to put the bed back on. got to take this ball hitch out. I'm hitting it. The bed's sitting down on the truck under its own weight. The rain's really starting to pick up now, so perfect time for me to be crawling around on my back putting these bed bolts in. Well, I did not film any of it. Raining and cold, and you didn't need any more to deal with. The bed is bolted back in. Yeah, it's got to be going on close to midnight now. I haven't even had dinner yet, so I'm gonna test drive this thing down to the gas station to get some food. Actually, one more thing I gotta do is hook up the fuel filler again, so I'll pull that up through and bolt it in. Got this thing all bolted back in. I'm gonna start it up and do a quick light check, and then we'll be off. We have tail lights. This turn works. This turn signal works. Brake lights are working too. Made it there and back. Truck seems to be running pretty good with the 7-month-old gas. It's got a little bit of a shake. You can maybe kind of hear or see that tinfoil shaking on the pizza, but honestly, it's probably no worse than it's ever ran. Okay, it's the next morning, getting ready to head into work. I am so tired. By the time I ate dinner, got everything cleaned up, all that last night, it was probably 1 a.m. before I went to bed. Let's see how the truck does today. Seat's still wet from me sitting in it last night. Alright, I got a little towel down, brushed off some of the dust from up here. The VW battery still starts it just fine. Alright, I've been driving for maybe 15 minutes now. Truck's doing fine. Maybe a little bit of vibration from a tire maybe being flat spotted, or maybe there's some mud in it that's throwing it out of weight, but other than that, it's doing fine. When I first started driving it, there was a little bit of rumble from the back. My guess is that it was just maybe some rust built up on the brakes in the back from sitting. It wasn't really dragging, so I didn't worry about it too much, and I just kept driving and turned up the volume. I turned the music off to make this video, and I don't hear it anymore. The speaker on the driver's side is going out. That was not an issue back when I was still driving this before I parked it. Now it only works for a split second when I hit a bump. Probably just won't fix that. Well, I made it to work. The truck gave me no issues. Good thing too, because as tired as I was this morning, I forgot to throw my tools in the truck before I left. Right, lunchtime leaving work. Let's see if it starts again. Cool. Made it home, no issues. The truck's running good still. I'm curious to see though, I had a check engine light when I was still driving this truck. It was for a small evap leak. I'm curious if that was one of those rusted out lines or if that was something else that's going to come back. I also even tested out the e-brake, and it applies and it releases just fine, not frozen up. It can be kind of rare on a Michigan truck, especially one that's been sitting like this. The other thing I found out was the speaker cutting in and out was this aux jack is very loose here. So nothing to do with the speaker. It can probably be resoldered if not replaced. Well, it's a few days later and actually bright out, so I want to do a closer video of what I actually had to do with the bed. So this is the driver's side of the truck. The fuel tank's down in here, and the fuel pump is up in there. Seeing as I have no garage and it's very wet, I've only got a gravel driveway to work on. I really didn't want to drop the tank down, so that's why I decided to take the bed off in the first place. The bed bolts, which are here, bolt into these cross members here. There's a nut that's welded into it from the top. There's also one up in here, and there's one under the rear bumper. up in here. Same thing on the other side. There's one here, and then the third one is further up forward. So the issue was, as I was twisting these out, the nuts that are welded into the cross members, the tack welds broke, and so these were just spinning in place. There's no access to the nuts from above. My original idea was to just hole saw a hole through the bottom of the bed, but unfortunately these nuts, they actually don't have a hex on them. They're just circular, so you can't actually grab them from the top. So I had to cut the bolts off, as you can see here. So these nuts here, as well as the bolts, which I already showed on the bottom, those were all replaced with just hardware store bolts. And so that's why I had to weld the nuts and the washers into the bottom of the bed so that I could have some way to reattach it. Another thing I've got to do is add some washers on these. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I just didn't happen to have any with me the night I was putting it together. I'm going to throw in this bed liner real quick. Not quite sure where the bolts ended up that go through here into the front of the bed. So this front part's a little saggy, but it doesn't look to be threaded, so I should be able to just find any sheet metal screw that'll fit in that hole. Well, I found 4 of them. And one other screw, which I don't know what this went to. Interesting. When I originally took these bolts off, they were sitting in the bottom of this bed liner, just like this. The bed liner was sitting in the yard just where that big rut is, but we had a big windstorm, and the next time I came outside it had blown all the way across the driveway over here and was upside down. So I have absolutely, well, I would have had absolutely no clue where in this driveway they would have gone, because I didn't even know what path the bed liner blew in. So thankfully that magnet sweeper was able to find at least 4 of them pretty quickly. Turns out these aren't sheet metal screws. These do have actual threads in them. Alright, now it's time for this tailgate. Can't quite get this tab on the driver's side to slide in all the way, so I'm going to pull it off and put a little finger of grease on it and see if that helps. Well, it took a lot of messing around, and I still don't think that went quite in all the way, but I did finally get it to the point where I could get the tailgate all the way on, and it opens and closes now. This hole here ended up being stripped out anyway, so I got this sheet metal screw with a washer on it that looks like it'll fit perfectly in here. And even though we have no check engine light on the dash, I just wanted to double check that I've driven it enough for it to actually trigger if there was one. EVAP. Vehicle has not yet completed this test. I'll have to do some more driving to get a definitive answer. Looks like that EVAP code is permanently stored, even though it's not lighting up the check engine light. Just did some quick reading, and apparently the emissions test won't run unless the fuel tank is below 3/4 and 1/4. So looks like I've got quite a bit of driving to do. Well, it's about a week later that check engine light did come back on. It was wishful thinking on my part, hoping that that engine light was only caused by the fuel pump and the rusted out lines, but whatever. Truck still runs good. I'm happy with it, and just be a little bit easier to sell without the check engine light. But that's the end of putting this truck back together, at least as far as the whole fuel pump thing goes.